Whilst the entire country was covered in snow, including Taunton, on our way down to Dartmoor, Dartmoor itself had, well, no snow whatsoever. Although, keep watching all the different episodes of this trip and you might be surprised to see a teeny weeny amount of snow. Here we're setting up the Hilleberg Akto. We had Chris Townsend's Flex Capacitor, which we carried everything in. This spot will become known as the second Peckham Spring. Keep watching to find out. Okay, well, you saw me pitching the Akto. Whilst this shelter is maybe one of the heavier shelters, I have got room to sit inside and have my feet outside but still under cover, which is something that I quite like. And you can't really do that in the Durston. If I was in the Durston now from memory, I'd have to do the door up. Obviously you get a little bit of an overhang here from the vent, which helps, but the secondary port, or the bit of porch in the Durston, is kind of over here, or you know, if it was this tent, would be over here, and my I don't have 90-degree legs to be able to get into that little bit of porch. So it's raining. I think it may have just stopped now, but it's raining, but I can still leave my door open and to a very large degree not get wet, you know, inside. And that is something that I quite like. Obviously there's a slight weight penalty between this and the Durston, obviously, like probably a kilogram, but you know, it's just something that I notice, and I know a lot of people are sort of on the bandwagon of this Durston, and I don't want to keep knocking it, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just not personally convinced that it's necessarily as good as people are maybe making it. You know, yes, you're saving weight, but there are other ways that you could save weight. MOD would certainly mountain laurel designs. You know, we might be in a Hilleberg, but we can't not be talking about mountain laurel designs. I'm inside, yet part of me is outside. Now, this is another reason why, personally, I think footprints are a ridiculous idea. I know a lot of you use footprints and think they're God's gift and everything else like that. And that's fine. If you like your footprints and you want to carry the footprint, be my guest. We're not in the motherland. We haven't got Mr. Puttyton in charge, so we're free to do what we want here. Despite what some people think about this country, we are still relatively free to do what we want here. And I'm free to think that footprints are a ridiculous idea. I like to be able to put my feet on the ground out here. What would be the point of having a footprint, you know, which is effectively the inside of a, you know, the inside of your tent, and then putting your dirty feet on them? You know, yes, I know then you could say, ah, yes, but Mr. Hobbs, you could keep your feet outside. But this is where I like to be able to be inside, yet outside, but inside at the same time. And that's what I find, you know, with a shelter, with a decent porch. You know, if the weather is very, very poor, I can just rest my feet, if they got, you know, put my boots on still, on the grass, and, you know, just chill out like that and unpack. I can cook on this grass here. I haven't got to worry about melting footprints or anything like that. So, you know, personally, I just don't see the point of them. Ah, Mr. Hobbs, I hear you say, but they protect your ground sheet. Well, first of all, obviously, if you bought a tent with a lightweight ground sheet that is so lightweight because the tent company wants to advertise, promote, market a super lightweight tent. Well, then you're going to put a lightweight then you put a lightweight ground sheet down, and then you bring I don't see the logic. I don't see the logic of having a super lightweight tent and then carrying a footprint which is probably thicker than the ground sheet in the first place, and probably weighs half as much of the tent again. That's an exaggeration, I'm sure, but I just don't see the point. But Mr. Hobbs, it protects the ground sheet. Well, look, if you're on a grassy place like this, then your ground sheet realistically shouldn't need protecting. If you are on something that's a little bit rougher and you just want to be a bit careful, then on this occasion I actually only brought 2 pieces with me, which was maybe a little bit silly, but it'll probably be enough. Have your foam mat, which you're probably bringing anyway, because okay, I'm sitting on another piece which is longer, but if you're carrying your foam mat, which you should be, to sit on maybe when you stop for a drink or food when you're walking, put your foam mat, which you're bringing anyway and which goes on the outside of your pack, therefore not adding bulk weight to your pack, and it's very lightweight. Put your foam mat under your ground sheet, and that way you're using one item for 2 purposes. Is protecting the bottom of your ground sheet if it needs protecting, and it might do from time to time. Is giving you a layer of warmth when you're in the tent, which is clearly a good thing, and you're saving weight carrying it. So that's the Hobbs tip. Ditch the footprint. You don't need footprints. I've never used one, never needed one, never missed one, and like I said, Chris Townsend has never used one either, and if he's never used one, then they clearly don't weigh everything up against what Mr. Townsend does. Anyway, talking about Mr. Townsend, that wasn't deliberate actually. Here we have the Sierra Designs. Finally Mr. Townsend got round to sending it to me, loaning it to me. This is the Sierra Designs Flex Capacitor 40-60 litre. I'm sure it will withstand the Hobbs handling. It's probably been on a few of his expeditions somewhere. He's probably taken it, I don't know, where have you taken it, Chris? Probably taken it to America or something like that. So I've borrowed this. I'm going to try this a little bit. We'll see how we get on with it. The main thing that I don't like about it is that there is no front pocket on it. I was planning on walking somewhere this trip, but one thing I forgot to do was to check the firing, because North Dartmoor, it's a firing range in places, and of course the 3 days that I'm here they're firing, and on Oakhampton range, which is the big one over here, normally they don't fire on that very much. That's normally free most of the time, but they're firing on Oakhampton range, so we're going to be a little bit, but anyway, we've got plenty to do in camp and chill out and relax. So we've got chicken and sausages again, 2 packets of crackers, so I'll put those at the back there. We've brought the X-Boil again because I want to do some more frying. Nitol, I don't know whether anyone takes Nitol or not. I don't take them at home, but when I'm out camping I like to sometimes just take something, just because I need as much sleep as I can get. So it's nice to just try and take something that just helps knock me out for, make sure that I stay knocked out, as it were, but that is, fairly gentle. my 360 pole. I bought that 360 camera, and I must, Tony, use the 360 camera occasionally. I think that the GoPro is so convenient. And what else we got? Waterproof trousers, so they can go back there. I've only got two tubes of cheese, so I'll have to be a bit careful. I bought 3 last time, and and I used all 3 easily. I bought some fajita, anyway, that bread stuff. We've got my knife, which I use for cooking. Obviously a knife like this you're allowed to have, because it's, you know, it's for camping and cooking and eating. Obviously in this country we're not allowed to carry knives like that, but which is probably a good thing. And then everything else literally is inside inside this, which I was using as a dry bag rather than a black bag. I can't reach your torch out, Chris. You see, you've added extra weight to the pack. I forgot to take that out. When Chris sent me the pack, he left his torch in there, and of course when I left it in there, I forgot to take it out. Oh well. Well, if you want your torch now, Chris, you're a bit stuck because it's in the middle of Dartmoor at the moment. So because this pack isn't waterproof, then I put everything inside this waterproof stuff sack dry bag here, rather than a black bag. I'm not quite sure what to do with the pack now, because that's what I do like about my proper shelters. I get plenty of room to put this, and I must admit, if you did have a door behind you, oh, that's getting a bit heavy now, I could put it behind me. All right, everybody, where do you put your packs? When you got a pack that's got a frame in it, not a proper mountain laurel design, frameless pack that you can roll up, maybe it will go, probably not going to work. I don't really want to put it outside in the rain. We put it at the back of the tent there. Wind shirts, food, mat, obviously for sleeping on, gloves, loose gloves, because it was a waterproof bag. It didn't matter about putting loose things in. Power packs, electrical stuff, mashed potato. Well, I might do bangers and mash tomorrow, maybe. Rubbish, make sure you take all your rubbish with you. The weather station, so we can get an accurate weather reading. Buff, pillow. Oh yeah, I've got another pillow. I got this one. Put a link below, Tony. I got this one on Amazon. Sea to Summit, and an inflatable one. I thought I'd bring something lighter. Nighttime stuff. If you're using Cuban fibre, because I noticed that these days people on YouTube and social media, they start using Cuban fibre like it's just just been born. If you check back in my videos, I've been using Cuban fibre for 11 or 12 years now. A very, very long time. It's not something that was just invented by these new YouTubers. It's been around a long old time. Clear that rain. Okay, so we've put the pack and waterproofs at the back there. I'm going to take my boots off and swing around inside. like I said, if I was in the Durston now and it was raining again like it is now, I'd be having to do the door up, because rain just comes straight in with that shelter. Whereas at least with this, I can have this space here, and I've got this quite big porch space here. It's kind of like a limiting factor with the Durston, because the poles are there and back here, that, you know, the bit of porch that is closed off is very, very small. We will see whether much rain decides to bounce in, because there is some coming here. It kind of depends, but I certainly remember with that, even when it was a teeny weeny bit of rain, it was coming in. But this really is like, you know, this is really why I like, you know, a proper big roomy, around me roomy shelter, like a Duomid or a Trail Star or something like that, because you can still be kind of outside but inside, and I like that. I like to be able to be, you know, I like to have doors open wherever possible. Now, I put my boots down here, you don't have any room anywhere, so I think my boots are gonna have to go right, the water can go there. And of course there's no point in worrying too much about about Lassie being outside in this weather, because she obviously spends most of her time underwater anyway. All right, so that's Petra. That's not so good, is it? You could do with another tie up there. I'm sure that there must be a knack to doing this up. Maybe if we fold it like that. Okay, well, we've had to do the door up because because eventually rain was starting to find its way in. It took a little while before rain you know, managed to get in, but it did eventually start to come in down here. So, but I can still leave the inner door open. I'll keep an eye on Lassie. I think she's down splashing in the water, and then basically in this stuff sack I've got all my nighttime stuff. I thought this time I would bring my lightweight sleeping bag. I think the forecast for tonight and tomorrow is maybe about 4 or 5 degrees, which should be within the sleeping bag range. But maybe the Friday night it might go down to like 0 or -1, which is definitely well below its +4 comfort rating. So I brought my down booties, 2 of them obviously. Obviously I brought my sleeping bag liner, which will add some, and my down leggings. So if it does cool off a bit too much, then I'm effectively covered, you know, head to foot in feathers, which should keep me you know, nice and cozy. I think I'm gonna get into bed. I think I'm gonna get into bed. I think sorry. Sometimes I get. I think when I'm in camp,
I get overexcited.
We haven't even got in the sleeping bag yet. We haven't even got in the sleeping bag yet, and I'm saying it's cozy. Oh. There's nothing quite like snuggling down in a cozy sleeping bag, and the time is literally 3:10 in the afternoon. Now there is a damp patch just down here. It's not much, so I'm just going to use my sock. Just like I said, this is really where I do like, you know, a mid-type shelter or the trail style, and you can kind of like really get under it, and you've got this as much headroom in the trail star, you know, as you do here in a low pitch, but just got a lot more space around you. Okay, maybe you limit yourself, you know, with drafts and things like that. If you know, if you worry about drafts and things, which I tend not to. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's nice and oh, that's lovely. Oh, there we go. Is literally 3:10 in the afternoon, and there's probably not a soul out there. So we've got food, glorious food. So we've got sausages and chicken there. We've got the cooker there. Last time when I did my frying, I used this, and the chicken was fine, but obviously the sausages burnt the bottom, and I wasn't really able to clean it all off completely, but it's fine, it doesn't matter. But I did buy a non-stick lightweight frying pan, which was almost identical to this, maybe like 20 or 30 grams heavier, and I don't know where I put it. I know I definitely haven't brought it with me, so I've had to bring this one. Mark, I'm practicing my side lighting. You mentioned about side lighting, and it's just a torch, Mark. It's about 7 o'clock. We're not going to do much over the next few days, just make some videos on this and that, and we'll kind of see how it goes. We went walking in the last camp, and I've got something lined up later in March, incredibly early April, and we'll be walking in that one. So as my regular viewers know, I'm more than happy doing sweet FA in camp for several days, just chilling out, making videos, watching films, eating, drinking, and basically being merry. Well, well, I'm actually Tony, not Mary. You know, I'm not going to go and have I'm not in for the change or anything. Okay, well, we're in camp. As I say, the weather is pretty miserable out there. We had snow coming down, but there's no snow down here. It's snow free. It's just very, very wet down here. It's about 9 degrees or thereabouts out, so it's not really cold. I was going to do chicken tonight, but given that I'm not one of these one night YouTubers that you know, I've got time to breathe out here, so, and it's not going to go off. It's not the middle of summer. So I'm gonna have the chicken tomorrow and then the sausages on Thursday, I think, because we're staying put. And I'm not having to carry it extra weight now, so I can have that tomorrow. So I've already had one small packet of crackers. I'll probably open up the other packet of crackers and have that with some cheese, some tea, and I've got soup, so I can have soup later as well. We'll probably maybe watch the first part of the Mandalorian later. The biggest thing that I seem to have forgotten, and I don't know why, and I don't remember seeing it, so I've put it somewhere. I'm not normally this disorganized, but I've not got Lassie's bowl with me. Now again, it doesn't matter because I put her food on the ground anyway, because she always tipped a bowl up, and I don't need to put water in it because we're right next to a stream. But I must admit, I do like to have her water bowl handy, you know, because if I was further up a hill or something, which we're not going to be this trip, but if I wasn't near water, then I needed her water bowl, so that's a little bit annoying. So note to self, go and find that water bowl. It also makes a very handy pea pot when needed as well. Obviously I rinse it out, don't worry, but it does make a very useful pea pot when needed. So yeah, we're lacking a pea pot now, which is a bit annoying. Anyway, we're going to I think put the kettle on again. I think is the next thing. I think the kettle on is the next thing to do. And we will see how the next couple of days goes and what we get up to. Anyway, I'll shut up now because otherwise we're going to have extra long videos as usual. Catch up later on. Look at this, we just have a little visitor. Can't say I've ever had. I don't think we'll scare him. I'm not going to move anything. But that is a little newt. A question to everybody. Have you ever had a newt in camp make his way out? A funny little thing. I've never had a newt in the tent before. There he's very slowly making his way out. Oh, bless him. Yep. Oh, it was nice and cozy under there too. He says it would have stayed if that Hobbs had brought his MLD. We had to go and bring a Hilleberg, didn't he? So we can't lower ourselves. We can't lower ourselves to shelter under a Hilleberg. He's gone behind the chicken and sausages, I think. Well, I've got the camera out. I've got the door open there and the vent open up there, and I've opened the vent at the back and the front, and I must admit there is certainly a lot of condensation. You can see that's quite wet up there, and there's a lot of condensation landing down here with my wrappers and everything, but there's a lot of condensation in the air. If you look down there on the bottom left, after the camera falls over, you can see, look at that mist inside the tent blowing in. There is a lot of moisture in there, but opening up the vents front and back, it did slowly dry out, although keep watching the other episodes for the wet ground sheet, which is from condensation, not a leaking ground sheet. And we were able somehow, I don't know how, obviously it's the Hobbs miracle, we were able to keep very, very dry. The sleeping bag never once got damp in these very, very wet conditions. Keep watching all the other episodes that will be coming out from this trip. Nice tasty food, lots of different reviews on clothing and other fun things. Please do like, subscribe, share, hit that notification button to all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.